dramatiska dagarna. Och så har jag ett mycket exklusivt besök, nämligen den person som berörde så många miljoner människor när hon stod på scenen och sjöng Rise Like a Phoenix, och nu talar jag om Eurovision Song Contest 2014. Welcome, Conchita.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Because there were so many people that were so moved by you when you were standing there singing your song, and just like a statement, I'm a human being.
Exactly. Well, it was overwhelming to me because, in first place, I didn't do it on purpose, I just found this version of myself to be the best version appearing on stage. To start out, I had a little career as Tom when I was 17. I did these talent shows like
Tom. You have to explain for those who don't.
Well, Tom is my private persona. Mm-hmm. So Tom is the one who is paying the bills, and I'm doing the show business. So when I was 17, I did this talent show in Austria, and I never really felt as free as I knew that I could feel on stage, right? So over the years, I found out that I need to come up with something which makes me a little bigger and more dramatic on stage. And I always wanted to be a diva, so I created one.
I'm glad that I have a real diva here in front of me.
Well, I'm trying.
But I'm a little bit curious about Tom as well, because when I read in your homepage, you say Conchita owes her existence to the fact that Tom had been dealing with discrimination all his life.
Well, especially as a teenager, I grew up in a very small country, a very small town in Austria on the countryside. And, being a teenager itself is just not fun, right? So in my case, it was that I found out quite early that I'm gay, that I'm into boys. And that.
When did you find out that?
Well, obviously, I always knew. But once you turn like 11, 12, you all of a sudden have a word for what you feel. So, and this was the time when it started to become difficult. Mm. Because I found out immediately that society thinks that I'm a mistake, that this is not the way you're supposed to live, And even though I'm just 27, but back then it also was kind of a different time. So I struggled with it, and I got insecure. And because I also thought I make a mistake. Mm. And I realized quickly that it's not blaming on me, it's the society who has a wrong opinion.
How was your childhood then?
Well, beside that fact, beautiful. I really, I have the most amazing family. They always have been so supportive. I grew up in the mountains, like a fairy tale.
Behind you.
And so I really had a beautiful childhood.
And your grandma was this very special person in your life.
My grandmother is probably the first diva I was ever allowed to meet. And, she always was some kind of a role model because she's very elegant. She taught me all these, obviously my parents raised me, and they told me about manners and that you have to learn and that be successful and be a decent human being. And my grandmother always was there with her fairy dust and putting glamour on me, in my opinion.
And still, with this happy childhood, you were afraid to tell your parents and your grandmother that you were gay.
Exactly.
So when did you do that, and what happened?
Well, I did it in a way which I would never recommend to anyone. I gave an interview. Mm-hmm. Because it was in this time when I joined the talent show. Obviously, once you're a person of the public eye, journalists are interested in your life and what you do. So I gave an interview. And
on TV?
Well, it was for a newspaper, and it would be released a week ahead of the actual situation. So I was as honest as I could be, because I thought, okay, I have now two options, right? Mm-hmm. I can be totally authentic, or I can lie. And I decided to tell everything what I wanted to tell, in the best way that I could. And that was the moment when I immediately went home and I said to my parents, listen, I am gay. And that was not the problem. The problem was, for my parents, that it, all over Austria, people would know a week after this conversation. And my parents, they have a little own hotel. So they always thought that, the opinion of others is the most important, especially when it comes to business. So we struggled a little. But I think at the end, passing that time, we just became closer than ever.
And your grandmother came and said, take care of the business now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, she in her mind, she's the queen of the family. And exactly, because everyone, obviously, it was a very emotional situation. Everybody was crying, and she came and saved the minute.
But it is interesting what you say, because you've been meeting now, after this, when you won the Eurovision Song Contest, a lot of people, famous people, invited you. We have a few of them on pictures here. You write about them in your book. This is Ban Ki-moon, the General Secretary of the UN.
Yeah.
What did you talk about?
Oh, well, that was overwhelming, because I got the invitation to be in the whole ceremony. He was here as obviously at the UN Center in Vienna, and I thought he wanted me to perform, and that's it. And I was very flattered and excited. And then I found out that he actually wanted me to give a little speech. He wanted to talk to me beforehand. And I thought, he really wants to talk to me, because I see myself, I'm just a bearded drag queen, and that's it. I love to sing. Music is the love of my life. But he wanted to talk to me. And he was very, very nice. He actually was a long time the ambassador in Austria. And then he said something in German, and he apologized that his German is not that good. And the only thing I said is, well, you're right, it's not that good. We really had a laugh.
But what is important here, because you have taken the opportunity that you were given, sort of, is that you make a statement that is what is normal, and what is equality, and what is a human being.
Exactly.
And I think that's what he was so fascinated about, the reaction you create when you appear as Conchita.
Well, I'm aware of the fact that a bearded lady is not a common thing, and that, you have some sort of emotions, whether they are good or bad. And in those kind of situations, like with Ban Ki-moon, obviously, I took this opportunity to speak out my beliefs. And when we talk about the term normal, in my mind, normal is not existing, because normal, normal, for me, is something normal, which would be for the next person something they could never, ever think about, right? So I really wanted to say that it's definitely not depending on your look, the color of your skin, your sexual orientation. It's just about if you are a good person or not. And this is what my parents always told me.
You didn't come here as Tom.
Well, no, in the studio, no. I arrived.
You arrived
in
like Conchita.
Stockholm. I arrived in at the airport as Tom, but not.
You arrived at the airport.
Yeah.
When do you use Tom and when do you use Conchita as a persona? When you're totally private, you're Tom.
Exactly. My private life is dedicated to no glamour, no wig, no makeup. Just having a great time with my friends, my family, and really enjoying life and doing business.
What happens when you put up the Conchita dress?
The most obvious thing would be, you won't hear it in English, but in German, me as Conchita, I do talk in a very, very proper German. And as Tom, I would talk in a dialect.
Okay.
So this is something...
You won't...
No, I would never, because it's not, it's not that I want to take a benefit out of it. It just would sound so unnatural to me to, be this character that I had in mind, and I would never talk in a dialect.
Another person that addressed you and invited you after the Eurovision Song Contest was Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Yes.
And that was something else for you.
That was amazing.
Yeah, because you're very much into fashion, and he really wanted you to to come on the, not the red carpet, it was another color.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a different event of the picture, but it's so, I studied fashion. So sitting there in the classroom, hearing all those names like Karl Lagerfeld, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and being all of a sudden in a room with this genius, right? It's overwhelming. And now I'm still, it's so hard for me to say, but I think we're some kind of friends now, which is overwhelming.
And Elton John sent some flowers. I read in your book.
Yeah.
2 hearts beating in my chest.
Yes.
This is what you wrote on your homepage.
Exactly. Probably there are even more. Probably. Because I think that we are all way more than just one box, you know? We can be serious and ridiculous at the same time. We're humoristic and very, you know. And for me, I have so many different aspects of my character. And some of them are so strong that they need a certain look. So, you know, I don't know. Probably I end up as a stand-up comedian and I have a total different appearance.
I want you to meet my next guest, who is the Interior Minister of Sweden, Anders Ygeman, and he has been in all these press conferences after what happened in Paris. Welcome. Välkommen hit, Anders Ygeman. Jag ska göra en längre intervju med dig alldeles strax, men du har suttit och lyssnat. You have been listening to the interview. What did you think?
I mean, this is a fantastic character. I'm so happy you won.
Oh, thank you.
I have to read the book now.
Because this is a very interesting statement. A woman with a beard that kind of shake everybody and moves people. Because it's all about being a human being.
Yeah, and it's a little bit strange, though, that still 2015, that it shakes us a little bit. I think it's a little bit strange. Before, maybe I thought we have come a little bit further than that. Actually looking at humans as humans, no matter how you look or who you feel or your sexuality or gender. But obviously there's still some things to work with.
I don't know about in your country, but in Sweden we have a debate, and I think all over Europe, that there are people, it's about us and it's about the others. And this is very dangerous when a society kind of fall apart. I don't know about Austria after what happened in Paris.
Well, of course, there are many discussions going on, and it's not just about Paris. It also is the whole situation with the refugees, right? So Europe is really facing a tough time now. And I think, especially in these days, it's so important to really, you know, as you said, don't how can I say, don't separate yourself, because I always think once, you know, more conservative people would refer especially to the refugee situation, how, you know, why should we all get them? And we all would do exactly the same. If we have to leave our homes because there is no livable place anywhere, we would do exactly the same. And we would love and we would want to receive respect and love from those people we are about to meet. Right.
Conchita is a persona. How important is it with people that have this symbolic value?
Well, of course, it's important. It's important for people making the conclusion that you can be whatever you want, and also for a lot of people who feel that people look down to them or doesn't treat them properly. I think it's really important that one of the real stars.
Would it be possible to have a minister dressed like Conchita with a beard?
I hope so, but I still think there are some prejudice to work with.
We have. I'm going to interview you a little bit later. I'm so glad that you came to my program, but we will hear you sing, of course.
I would love to.
So please take place on my little stage here. And
thank you so much.